Have you ever found yourself trapped in a whirlwind of thoughts, as if your mind doesn't want to rest? Perhaps this happens at night, when silence arrives, but thoughts continue to scream within you, or even during the day when you should be calm. But your mind insists on reliving the past or imagining futures that may never come to pass. In Buddhism, we call this the monkey mind, always jumping from one branch to another, restless, anxious, unable to rest. And when we fail to tame this mind, it robs us of the present, takes away our peace, and distances us from the simplicity of life. But the good news is that Buddhist wisdom offers us ways to calm this constant flow. Ancient teachings, simple yet profoundly transformative, can help us release the weight of our thoughts and find a quiet space within ourselves. Today, we will walk together through 8 Buddhist teachings that show how it is possible to stop overthinking and rediscover inner peace. These are not distant or complicated ideas. They are practices you can bring into your life right now, every day, breathing with every gesture. So take a deep breath and let's begin this journey. Chapter 1: The Nature of Thought and Suffering. We often believe our thoughts are reality, but in truth they are merely reflections, like images projected onto the surface of a lake. When the water is calm, we can see clearly, but when the water is turbulent, everything seems distorted. This is how the mind works. The more turmoil we carry with us, the harder it becomes to see life as it truly is. The Buddha taught that the root of suffering lies in attachment. And it's not just attachment to people or material things. It's also attachment to our own thoughts. How many times have you relived a past conversation, replaying every word in your head? How many times have you imagined future outcomes that never came to pass? Each time we do this, we reinforce the weight of what, deep down, is merely a mental construct. It's important to understand. Thinking is not a mistake. Thought is a precious tool that helps us plan, remember, and create. But when we identify too closely with it, we end up confusing thoughts with truths. It's like believing that clouds are the sky, when in fact they are just passing. Overthinking creates an invisible prison. We become trapped in cycles of worry, doubt, and fear. Many older people, for example, carry within themselves a backlog of memories and regrets, and their minds insist on revisiting these places. Others live anxiously about the future, fearing illness, loss, or the unknown. The result is always the same: a tired, heavy mind that finds no rest. In Buddhism, there is a simple image that helps us understand. The river only becomes murky when we stir up the mud at the bottom. If we let the water rest, clarity returns naturally. This is how the mind works. We don't need to forcefully expel thoughts. Just stop stirring them all the time. Observing, breathing, allowing each thought to follow its course. This is the key. When we let go of attachment, when we learn not to identify with every idea that arises, suffering loses its power. Then a silent peace emerges, the one that has always been within us, but which was hidden behind the noise of our own thoughts. Chapter 2: The Teaching of Impermanence. One of the most beautiful and liberating pillars of Buddhism is the teaching of impermanence. It reminds us that nothing lasts forever. Everything that arises one day transforms and disappears. This is the natural law of life, from the seasons to the very thoughts that cross our minds. When we forget this truth, we suffer, because we believe that what we feel now will remain forever. We think that pain will never go away, that worry will be eternal, that anxiety will stay with us until the end. But this is not true. No thought remains. No emotion is fixed. Perhaps you remember a moment in your life when something seemed unbearable. A loss, a conflict, a financial worry. At that moment, it seemed like the weight would never dissolve. But time has passed, and you are here now, breathing, living, looking back. This demonstrates impermanence. Even the deepest pains transform. Even the densest thoughts lose their power when we let them go. Go. The Buddha taught us to observe thoughts like clouds passing through the sky. Some are light, white, and fleeting. Others seem heavy, laden with rain. But no matter how dark they are, none of them remain. The sky is never destroyed by the storm. It always opens again. So it is with the mind. Thoughts come and go, but our essence remains intact. And when we bring this teaching into our daily lives, something changes deep within us. Instead of fighting thoughts, we can simply acknowledge them. Here is the worry. Here is the fear. Here is the memory of the past. And then let them go. We don't need to cling to them or identify with them. Every time we remember impermanence, we take a step toward freedom, because we understand that not even pain is eternal, and that peace, if cultivated, can blossom again, just as spring always returns after winter. Take a deep breath for a moment. Realize that even this thought you have now will also pass, and in the silence that remains after it, there is an open, serene space where peace is already waiting for you. Chapter 3. The Practice of Mindfulness. If thoughts pull us back to the past or the future, there is a precious key to bringing us back to the present: mindfulness. In Buddhism, we call this practice mindfulness, the art of being fully present, aware of what is happening in the exact moment we are living. It seems simple, but in the rush of the mind, we forget. We often eat without savoring, walk without noticing the ground beneath our feet, talk without truly listening. It's as if life passes before us while our mind wanders with worries. The teaching of mindfulness invites us to return to the breath, to the body, to the small gestures that fill everyday life. It's a call to savor tea as if for the first time, to feel the wind on your face without rushing, to listen to a friend or a grandchild, not just with our ears, but with our whole heart. When we practice this, something happens within us. The whirlwind of thoughts loses strength because the mind finds a place to rest, the present. It's like when a bird finally lands after flying aimlessly. In the silence of that landing, clarity emerges. You can start right now. Inhale and feel the air coming in. Exhale and feel the air going out. That's all. A simple moment, but one that makes room for peace. Life doesn't happen yesterday, nor tomorrow. Life happens now. And when we bring our minds back to this moment, we discover that inner peace was never lost, only forgotten. Chapter 4. Detachment and the Art of Letting Go. Often, excessive thinking stems from a silent need for control. We want to predict the future, solve all problems before they arise, carry the weight of the world on our shoulders. But the more we try to hold on to everything, the more tired our minds become. Buddhism reminds us of a profound truth. Learning to let go is an act of freedom. It doesn't mean abandoning responsibilities, but recognizing that not everything depends on us. Imagine holding a rope tightly. The tighter you tighten your grip, the more your hands hurt. But the moment you loosen your grip, relief arrives. The same is true with thoughts. The more we hold on to them, the more we suffer. When we let go, we make room for peace. Detachment is the art of trusting the flow of life. It's understanding that we can't control all the answers, but we can cultivate serenity to deal with whatever comes our way. It's like a river that follows its course, even when it encounters rocks in its path. It doesn't fight, it doesn't resist, it just flows. You can practice this letting go in simple ways. When you feel a worry that won't leave your mind, write it down on a piece of paper. Breathe deeply, and as you let go of the paper, allow the worry to also drift away like a leaf carried by the wind. Letting go is, in fact, an act of courage. The courage to trust, the courage to not hold on to what hurts, the courage to open our hands to receive the new. And when we let go, we realize that many of the chains we believed were holding us back were only within us. Letting go doesn't impoverish us. On the contrary, it enriches us with lightness, clarity, and peace. Because when we let go of everything, we finally have space to hold on to what truly matters. Chapter 5: Silence as Spiritual Medicine. In a world so full of noise, we forget the value of silence. There's always a voice, a device, a piece of news, or even the noise of our own thoughts. Silence, however, is not empty. It is a sacred space where the mind finds rest and the heart reconnects with its own wisdom. In Buddhism, monks and practitioners of all ages dedicate moments to profound silence, not as absence but as presence. In silence, we hear the sound of our breath, the beating of our heart, the song of a distant bird, and suddenly, what seemed small reveals its grandeur. When we cultivate silence, we discover that we don't need so many immediate answers. We discover that many anxieties dissolve on their own when we don't feed them with words and thoughts. It's like a pool of agitated water. Just leave it alone, and transparency returns. You can start with just a few minutes a day. Turn off your cell phone, turn off the television, sit comfortably, and allow the silence envelop you. Perhaps at first your mind will try to resist, creating even more internal noise. But over time it learns to rest. Silence is a medicine for the body and soul. It calms our heartbeats, slows our breathing, and opens space for clarity. In silence, we realize that we are not our thoughts. We are the calm awareness that observes, that welcomes, that exists beyond them. This silent space is already within you. It has always been, and the more you delve into it, the more you discover that peace is not something distant, but something that blossoms in the simple act of silence. Chapter 6: Compassion and Looking Outward. When we are trapped in an excess of thoughts, they often revolve around ourselves. We relive what we said or didn't say. We imagine what others think of us. We anticipate problems that may never exist. It's like being locked in a small room, hearing only the echo of our own voice. Buddhism teaches us that there is a powerful antidote to this imprisonment: compassion. When we turn our gaze to the other, the weight of our own thoughts begins to dissolve. Suddenly, we realize that we are not alone in our pain, because every human being also carries their own silent struggles. Practicing compassion doesn't require grand gestures. It can start simply, listening to someone without interrupting, offering a word of comfort, smiling at a stranger, making tea for someone you love. When we do this, our minds open, and the closed cycle of overthinking is broken. It's like opening a window in a stuffy room. Fresh air enters, and our breathing becomes lighter. Compassion takes us out of the center of worry and connects us with something greater, life in its entirety. Furthermore, when we help someone, we also help ourselves. The kindness we offer returns in the form of serenity, meaning, and clarity. Because deep down, the human heart was made to love and serve. So, when you feel your mind is too full, try turning outward. Ask yourself, who can I welcome today? Who needs a little kindness? This simple shift in direction can transform a heavy day into a bright one. And little by little, you will discover that true peace is born not only in inner silence, but also in the warmth of offering love to others. Chapter 7: Simplicity as a Path to Freedom. Often, excessive thoughts arise from the excess of things we accumulate in life. Not just objects, but also commitments, worries, desires, and expectations. The more we carry, the more our mind becomes occupied trying to handle it all. Buddhism reminds us that simplicity is a path to freedom. Being simple is not living in lack, but choosing the essential. It's recognizing what truly nourishes the heart and letting go of what merely takes up space. Think for a moment. How many times have you kept objects you no longer use, but that insist on remaining in your home. The same thing happens within us. We harbor old hurts, repeated fears, demands that no longer make sense. And each of these things weighs on our minds like a suitcase too full to carry. When we simplify, life becomes lighter. An organized home brings peace. A routine without excess makes room for rest. A mind that learns to focus on the essential finds serenity. In Buddhism, simplicity is seen as a gesture of wisdom. We don't need much to live in peace, we just need enough. It's like a well-tended garden. It's not the quantity of flowers that brings beauty, but their balance in the space. You can start today. Choose a small gesture of simplification. Donating what you no longer use, reducing commitments that don't nourish the soul, or simply setting aside time to do less and be more. Simplicity paves the way for clarity, and in clarity, thoughts find rest, because when we let go of the unnecessary, we finally have space to embrace true peace. Chapter 8: The Practice of Gratitude in the Present. There is a gentle but profoundly transformative remedy for overthinking: gratitude. When the mind gets lost in worries, it's almost always looking at what's missing, what could have been different, or what hasn't yet arrived. But when we cultivate gratitude, we begin to see what is already present and deserves to be valued. In Buddhism, gratitude is not just a feeling of courtesy. It is a spiritual practice that anchors us in the now. Being grateful is recognizing that life, even with its imperfections, still offers us gifts in every moment. The air we breathe, the water that refreshes us, the body that sustains us, the people around us. Perhaps you remember how many days you worried about problems that seemed enormous, and that now, looking back, no longer carry the same weight. And how many times, in those same days, you failed to notice small miracles happening. A sincere hug, a sunset, the simple fact of being I live. Practicing gratitude can be simple. Every night before going to sleep, close your eyes and remember 3 things you're grateful for that day. They don't have to be big events. It could be the meal that gave you strength, the conversation with a loved one, or even the silence that brought you peace. This small gesture, repeated daily, retrains the mind to rest in abundance, not scarcity. Gratitude transforms the heart. It teaches us that we don't need to chase everything to be happy. Often we already have enough. We just need to open our eyes and realize it. And when gratitude flourishes, excess thoughts fade away, because the mind, instead of filling with worries, fills with gratitude. And where there is sincere gratitude, there is always peace. Reflection. We have reached the end of this journey through 8 Buddhist teachings that help us silence the mind and rediscover inner peace. The nature of thoughts, impermanence, mindfulness, detachment, silence, compassion, simplicity, and gratitude. Each of them is like a key that opens a different door within us. Doors that always lead to the same place, the serene silence that already exists deep within our being. Perhaps, hearing these words, you remembered how many times you lost yourself in thoughts that seemed endless. But now, you can also realize that there is a path to release this weight. Peace does not lie in controlling the mind, but in learning to welcome it, observe it, and let it rest. And I leave you with a gentle question, so you can continue reflecting even after this video. Which of these 8 teachings do you feel you need to cultivate more in your life right now to regain serenity? Take a deep breath and allow may the answer arise from within. If this message brought calm to your heart, please like this video and share it with someone who also needs to quiet their mind. This way, more people can benefit from this wisdom. And if you wish to continue deepening your path, I invite you to watch the next video that appears here on the screen. In it, we explore how impermanence can be a key to true inner freedom. We will meet there, with the same peace and silence in our hearts. Namaste.